He was just a delivery driver. She was a president who hit him with her car, had him beaten, and then walked into his life again, like nothing ever happened. This is the story of Chinmo. Back when Chinmo was helping his girlfriend put on her stockings, he'd made her a promise. They were both going to get into Peking University together, no matter what. But when college entrance exam season rolled around, he had zero options. He had to deliberately bomb his Chinese subject, tank his own score on purpose. He ended up with 600 points, not nearly enough. Peking University was off the table. His girlfriend. She packed her bags and flew abroad without looking back. She never found out that Chinmo didn't make it to any college at all. He was forced to drop out entirely and wound up doing food delivery to make ends meet. That night, Chinmo dragged his exhausted body out for another shift. He was on his way to his last delivery when a white Range Rover came out of nowhere and slammed right into him. Seconds later, a girl in red high heels rushed over and crouched down beside him. "Are you okay? I swear I didn't mean to do that." She clicked open her Gucci handbag and pulled out a thick stack of bills, somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. "Here, take this first. Go to the hospital nearby and get yourself checked out. Make sure nothing's broken." She was already half standing as she said it. "I have somewhere I really need to be." She pressed the cash into his hand and started walking away, but after just 2 steps, she stopped and turned back around. She crouched down again, dug a pen out of her bag, and scrawled a number onto a sticky note. She held out both her ID card and the note. "If anything comes up, anything at all, call me anytime. My name is Zinju." By the time Chinmo looked down to check the ID, she was already gone. The whole thing lasted maybe 8 minutes, tops. A few words, and just like that, the white Range Rover disappeared into the night. Chinmo struggled to his feet, completed his last delivery, and rode his electric scooter home alone. It was late. After sitting with his thoughts for a while, he dialed the number. No answer. 8 minutes later, he tried again. The call dropped immediately. He tried a third time. This time it connected, and an irritated girl's voice came through. "Who is this? What do you want? Make it quick." "You hit me with your car earlier tonight," Chinmo said politely. Her whole tone flipped in an instant. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was completely my fault. Which hospital are you at right now? Did you get checked out? What did the doctor say?" Hearing the genuine concern in her voice actually made him feel a little better. "I'm fine," he said. "It's mostly just the outer casing on my electric bike. It's cracked. That's about it." "Good. The important thing is that you're okay. Send me the repair estimate and I'll cover it." "The money you already gave me is more than enough for the repairs," Chinmo said. "I still have your ID. Can you come pick it up?" There was a brief hesitation on her end. "Could I have a friend come get it instead? I'm really tied up right now." Chinmo said sure and gave her his address. After the call ended, he settled onto a wooden stool and started dabbing ointment on his bruises. About half an hour later, someone knocked at the door. Chinmo walked to the living room and pulled it open. 4 men stood outside. The one in front looked about his age, maybe 20. The 3 behind him were built like walls. The one in front looked him up and down and asked, "You're the one who called?" Before Chinmo could even respond, the guy's patience ran out. "You got Shinzu's ID or not?" He never got to answer. The guy's fist connected with his face. Then a kick drove into his stomach. Chinmo hit the floor before he even understood what was happening. A foot came flying and caught him hard. He tasted blood. The door to the neighboring room cracked open. His roommate Lu Chong, the guy he'd shared drinks with plenty of times, took one look at the situation and quietly closed it again. The guy stepped forward and pressed the sole of his leather shoe down onto Chinmo's hand. His voice dropped to something cold and flat. "Where's the ID?" Chinmo tried to speak, but half his face had gone numb. The man turned to the 3 guys behind him. "Go find it." They found the ID card and the sticky note on the bedroom table. One of them brought it back and handed it over. The man looked it over, satisfied, and pocketed it. Then he ground his heel down harder on Chinmo's hand. "Are you stupid?" His voice was ice. "Out of every person on the street, you pick her to run a scam on. Let me make this real simple for you. You contact that woman again, even once, and I will end you." He delivered one final kick and turned to leave, but he stopped at the door, like something had just crossed his mind. He walked back into the bedroom, picked up Chinmo's phone, and in front of his face, hurled it onto the concrete floor until it shattered completely. Then all 4 of them strolled out like they owned the place. After they were gone, Chinmo sat alone on the edge of his bed. A cheap cigarette burned between his fingers. He couldn't wrap his head around why the world was always so damn unfair, why people wore masks like second skin, why had that girl left her ID with him at all, and why had she turned around and sent men to beat him for it. It was like being handed a VIP pass to an exclusive club, only to discover the VIP experience consisted entirely of the bouncers using your face as a mop. He made himself a silent promise. He was going to find out the truth. Outside, the rain was picking up, like it had no intention of stopping all night. When the sun came up tomorrow, there'd be one more lost soul wandering this city. The first light of morning crept through the window. Chinmo had everything he owned packed into a single suitcase. He was clearing out of the rented room today. After last night's incident, his landlord decided he was mixed up with the wrong crowd and told him not to come back. His old suitcase sat on his scooter. He had 2,600 yuan left to his name, the cash Shinzu had given him in the rain. His last paycheck had gone straight home for his father's medical treatment. He'd kept just a little for himself. Out of those 2,600 yuan, he'd already spent 800 on a new budget smartphone so he could keep taking delivery orders. What was left was earmarked for rent. If he couldn't lock down a room by tonight, he'd be sleeping under a freeway overpass. He powered on the new phone, slotted in his SIM card, and it lit up, immediately ringing with a call from his second uncle. "Momo, what are you up to?" His second uncle was a different kind of guy. His grandfather had picked him up off the street years ago. He was 6 years older than Chinmo, had spent years doing shady small-time work, and had enough of a reputation in the surrounding villages that most people knew his name. One word, notorious. Chinmo sat down at the roadside. "I'm fine. Why are you calling out of nowhere?" "I'm in Kaming," his uncle said. "Came to pick up some medicine for your dad. There's an old Chinese doctor here who's real good with kidney disease. Got his contact and came straight over. I'll crash at your place tonight and take the train back in the morning." Chinmo's stomach sank. If his uncle showed up and saw the state he was in, bruised face, no place to live, what would he think? And if he went back home and mentioned it to Chinmo's parents, they'd spiral into worry all over again. On top of that, Chinmo's face was still a mess of purple and blue. His second uncle had a way of pulling the truth out of people no matter what. This could get real bad, real fast. "Second uncle," Chinmo said carefully, "you don't have to come see me. Just get the medicine and head straight back. I'm swamped right now." His uncle wasn't having it. "Your mom packed you a whole basket of farm eggs. I'm delivering them whether you like it or not. That's final. I'll call you when I get there." The line went dead. Chinmo stared blankly at his phone for a solid 2 hours. Finding a room on short notice in a random neighborhood wasn't realistic. But the real problem was that his second uncle was going to show up in 2 hours no matter what. He thought it through, then made a decision: find a cheap inn near the train station first. He'd put his uncle up there so the guy wouldn't suggest dragging him back home. In the meantime, Chinmo would figure out his own sleeping situation. 2 hours later, he picked up his second uncle at the station. Same as always, wearing a knockoff Nike tee, still built solid, and sporting a fresh tattoo on his arm. The moment they saw each other, his uncle stopped walking and looked him over with concern. "Momo, what happened to your face? You get into a fight." "Just tripped," Chinmo said. "Accident." His uncle clearly wasn't buying it. "You think you can fool me like you fool your parents? Nobody trips and ends up looking like that. You got jumped, didn't you?" Chinmo knew this guy had seen enough of the world that playing dumb wouldn't work, but he still didn't want to get into it. He changed the subject. "Come on, let me show you where you're staying. Later tonight, we'll go pick up the medicine together." His uncle didn't push it, just walked alongside him. After getting a room booked near the mall, Chinmo said, "Stay here tonight. We'll grab the medicine this evening, then I've got to get back to work. And please, don't tell my parents someone beat me up. They've got enough on their plates." His uncle still pushed. "Tell me what really happened. Who did this?" Chinmo sighed and sat down on the edge of the bed. He lit a cigarette and quietly said, "I honestly don't know why they did it." Then he told his uncle everything. All of it, everything that had gone down the night before. "Please," he said at the end, "don't tell my parents. I don't want them stressing. I've still got a little money saved. When you head back, can you give it to Dad?" His second uncle sat with his head down, smoking in silence for a few minutes. Then he said, "I'm going to track those guys down." He reached into his pocket and pulled out 2,000 yuan, dropping it into Chinmo's hand. "Keep your own money. Don't send it home. Here's 2,000 more. Get yourself a decent room. And take care of yourself." Chinmo tried to hand it back. "Second uncle, I can't take this." His uncle cut him off in that no-nonsense tone of his. "You take it. If I'm giving it, you're taking it. Don't give me any lip." "I'll go pick up the medicine for your dad this evening," second uncle said. "You go sort out your housing situation, handle your own problems first. Then we'll grab dinner together tonight, and I'll catch the morning train back." Chinmo let out a long breath. He could feel clearly just how much his second uncle cared about him. The man didn't want to pile on any more stress. Eventually, Chinmo agreed to the plan. That afternoon, Chinmo went apartment hunting while his second uncle went after the medicine. His father's kidney disease had been dragging on for years now, and over that time the family had burned through nearly every bit of savings they had on treatment. When his grandfather passed, he'd left behind some money, roughly 10,000 yuan. By rights, that should have been split evenly between Chinmo and his second uncle. But his second uncle had refused to take a single yuan. Every last bit of it went toward Chinmo's father's care. The man wasn't educated, spent most of his days drifting around getting into trouble, but his character was clean, no question about that. That afternoon, through a realtor, Chinmo found a room. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment with shared tenants. The smallest bedroom went for 700 yuan a month. Living room, bathroom, and kitchen were all shared. The realtor mentioned that a couple occupied the master bedroom, and a single woman had the second room. Chinmo walked through it, decided it would work, and paid 3 months' rent on the spot. By the time everything was settled, it was already 4 in the afternoon. A text came in from his second uncle. He was waiting near the mall, close to the train station, so they could grab dinner together. He had an early train to catch in the morning. Just as Chinmo was heading out, he ran into the girl sharing the apartment with him. She'd just gotten home from work and was still in her office clothes, a short blazer that gave her a sharp, polished look. She crouched down to switch out her shoes, and Chinmo's eyes accidentally drifted toward her collar. He told himself it wasn't intentional. But honestly, she was the kind of attractive where looking away took actual effort. The problem was, when she stood back up, he was still looking. She caught him immediately. Her expression went cold, and she hit him with a single word dripping in disgust. Pervert. Then she yanked her collar shut and walked straight to her room without another word. That night, Chinmo had dinner with his second uncle and knocked back a few beers. He was so worn down that the idea of riding all the way back to the new apartment felt like too much, so he grabbed a cheap room at a small inn nearby. The next morning, he saw his second uncle off at the station and got back to deliveries. Work meant money, and delivery work was the only option he had right now. He pushed through until 11:30 that night. When the last order of the day popped up on his screen, he did a double take. It was from his own apartment. The customer's name was Lenife. He picked up the food and headed home. The couple in the master bedroom were out. Their light was off. The second bedroom had light spilling under the door, and he could hear the steady rhythm of someone typing. Chinmo tossed his jacket into his room, grabbed the delivery bag, and walked over to knock lightly on her door. It swung open. She was in casual home clothes now. The second she saw who it was, her expression curdled. She instinctively pulled at her collar, then snatched the bag out of his hand before he could get a word out. A second later, she dumped the entire thing into the trash can by the door, bag and all. There was soup inside, and when she yanked it out of his hands, some of it splashed onto his jeans. It was hot enough to sting, but she didn't even glance at him. She just stepped back and slammed the door in his face. Chinmo stood there in the hallway, confused, helpless. He shook his head and went back to his room. A few minutes later, his phone buzzed. A delivery feedback notification. 1 star. The written complaint read, "Why did you give my food to someone else? How can you be this irresponsible?" Chinmo stared at the screen. 1 bad review meant a 300 yuan deduction straight out of his paycheck. On a good day, grinding from morning until midnight, he barely scraped together 300 yuan to begin with. And now, after working himself into the ground all day, a single review had wiped the whole thing out, like it never happened. It was like being politely mugged by the universe, complete with an automated customer service notification thanking him for the privilege of being robbed. He sat on the edge of his bed, lit a cigarette, and exhaled slowly into the silence of his own useless life. Time moved. Then, on Wednesday, around midday, his second uncle called out of nowhere. Chinmo pulled his scooter to the side of the road. "Second uncle, what's going on? I'm in the middle of deliveries. Can I call you back?" "I'm at the intersection of Jing Road and Renmin Road," his uncle said. "Finish your current delivery, stop taking new orders, and come straight here." Chinmo thought he'd misheard. "Where are you?" "Little Garden, the spot you told me about. Come show me exactly where the Range Rover clipped you." Chinmo went very still. "What are you planning to do? Just tell me the direction." "Second uncle, I thought you went home. Why are you back in Kunming?" "I'm here to settle your tab. You coming or not? Because if not, I'll pull the footage from the cameras myself. Just gonna take longer." Chinmo didn't say anything for a moment. He knew exactly what his second uncle was like when he'd made up his mind. "Wait. I'm coming. Meet you there." Half an hour later, Chinmo found him crouched at the side of the road near Little Garden, eyes slowly scanning each CCTV camera mounted in the area. Chinmo couldn't read what was going on in that head of his. His uncle handed him a cigarette. "Show me exactly where it happened." "I should clarify, she didn't hit me," Chinmo said. "The Range Rover was making a turn. I rode into it." His uncle muttered a curse. "Doesn't matter. A vehicle turning still has to yield to oncoming traffic. That's the law. Just point me to where." Chinmo pointed across the road. Then quietly, "Second uncle, just leave it. We're not from around here. The further we stay from these people, the better." His uncle dropped his half-smoked cigarette on the ground and crushed it under his foot. Got it. He paused. Once I get the plate number off that Range Rover, I'll find the ones who jumped you too. He stood up, turned, and walked away without looking back. Second uncle. Chinmo called after him. I'm at the Paris complex now. Tonight if you want. I'm not staying, came the reply, already fading into the crowd. Don't worry about me. Chinmo watched him disappear into the flow of people and felt something restless settle into his chest. His second uncle didn't know what he was walking into. A Range Rover, Gucci bags. These people had money and connections. Going after them wasn't brave. It was a fast way to bring a whole lot worse down on himself. But Chinmo also knew there was no stopping the man, so all he could do was sit with the knot in his stomach and wait. 3 days later, his phone rang late at night. His second uncle. Sentry parking lot. Be here in 30 minutes. I'm already waiting. When Chinmo arrived, he found his uncle sitting quietly in the corner near a flower bed, and parked just a short distance away was the white Range Rover. The scrape marks from the accident were still visible along the side. Chinmo's stomach dropped. He couldn't even wrap his head around how fast his uncle had tracked it down. Second uncle, come on, let this go. Don't make it bigger than it already is. His uncle's voice was flat. No. Tonight we balance the books. Chinmo looked around. It was past 9 and the place was still packed. This was the last spot on earth you'd want to do something like this. His second uncle handed him a pack of expensive cigarettes, then nodded toward an old black Santana parked nearby. Get in, stay calm, and wait. Chinmo climbed into the passenger seat and his nerves immediately went through the roof. The Santana had to be at least 10 years old, beat up and rattling. On the driver's side, a steel pipe stood upright against the seat, one end wrapped in bandages. A weapon, prepared specifically for tonight. Chinmo felt sick. Yeah, he despised the guys who'd beaten him up. But the idea of actually watching someone get hurt in return, that fear was real and it sat heavy in his gut. He tried again to talk his uncle down. Got nothing. His words dissolved into the air like they'd never been spoken. At 9:15, the target finally showed. The same man who had stormed into his apartment and put him on the floor that night, walking side by side with Shinzu, both of them heading toward the Range Rover. Shinzu had a Gucci bag on her arm again, though not the same one from before. The man went around to the driver's side and pulled the door open. Second uncle's voice was cold and low. Those two. Just let it go, man. Cut it. Yes or no? Chinmo took a slow breath. Yes. Second uncle said nothing. His eyes stayed locked on the Range Rover as it pulled out of the parking spot and eased out of the lot. He started the Santana and fell in behind it. The entire drive, Chinmo's nerves were maxed out. He knew what his second uncle was capable of. The Range Rover rolled on, making turn after turn off the second ring road, down a stretch that was noticeably quieter and emptier than the rest. That was the moment. Second uncle punched the gas. He overtook the Range Rover, then yanked the wheel hard. The Santana swung across the lane and came to a dead stop at an angle, cutting off the road entirely. The Range Rover's brakes were good. Another car might not have stopped in time. But it stopped. Second uncle didn't get out immediately. He sat there, unhurried, head dipped down to light a cigarette. The driver's door of the Range Rover blew open. The man who'd beaten Chinmo stormed out red-faced, made a beeline for the Santana's driver's side, and kicked the door hard. You even know how to drive, he screamed, voice raw with rage. Second uncle pressed the cigarette between his lips, gripped the steel pipe in his right hand, and with his left, popped the door open hard and fast. The man standing outside caught the full force of it and stumbled back. Before he could recover, second uncle stepped out without a word and swung the pipe straight at his head. The man threw his arm up on instinct and blocked it, but he never got the chance to steady himself. Second uncle drove a kick into his gut. He lurched back 2 steps, clipped the curb, and went down. Second uncle's presence was heavy enough on its own. The man on the ground had gone pale. All that attitude from the other night. Completely gone. Jinju rushed out from the passenger side and crouched down beside him. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Then she looked up at second uncle and her voice flipped to anger. What is wrong with you? Why are you hitting people? Without turning around, second uncle held the cigarette between 2 fingers. Momo, get over here. How do you want to handle this? Chinmo walked over on shaky legs. Second uncle, that's enough. He's already been hit. Let's just go. Shinzu looked at both of them, trying to make sense of it. Who are you people? She didn't recognize Chinmo at all, which, honestly, made sense. That night it had been raining, it was late, and Chinmo had been in his delivery uniform with a helmet on and his bike between them. There was no reason she'd remember his face, but she was clearly scared now. What do you want from us? Second uncle didn't spare her a glance. He took one more drag of the cigarette, dropped it on the ground, and crushed it under his boot. Then he crouched down slowly, pressed the lower end of the steel pipe against the man's thigh, and leaned into it. Chinmo could see him applying deliberate pressure. The man's face twisted in pain, but he didn't cry out. He was tough. Second uncle seemed almost satisfied by that. You jumped Momo and smashed his phone, he said. His voice was even, like he was reading off a receipt. Here's the deal. Transfer 5,000 yuan right now. Money lands, this is over. He let a cold little smile through. If it doesn't, you're not walking out of here tonight in one piece. Shinzu's composure cracked. She was genuinely scared. She unclasped her bag almost immediately, voice dropping to something close to a plea. Please, don't hurt him, I'll pay. She pulled out cash without counting it, and held it out to second uncle. I don't know how much that is. Take all of it. Second uncle glanced at the stack. That'll do for now. Consider it settled. He straightened up. Having money doesn't give you the right to bully people. Remember that. He tucked the cash away and left his number hanging in the air. 1335678899. If you've got a problem with this, come find me. He set the steel pipe aside and turned to Chinmo. Let's go, Momo. If he bothers you again, I won't go easy. Chinmo was still half in shock. This was just how his second uncle operated. As they walked away, Chinmo let himself look back at Shinzu twice, quick, sideways glances. She was genuinely beautiful. The kind of beautiful that makes your brain go quiet for a second and forget what it was doing. And when he looked, she was already looking at him. Their eyes met. Chinmo felt heat rush to his face and immediately looked away, then got into the car. Second uncle caught the whole thing and made a short, irritated sound. What now? You're scared. You're giving up. They're just people. 2 shoulders, 1 head, same as you. What exactly are you afraid of? If you got any spine at all, stand your ground and push back. The truth was, Shinmo was just tired. He'd been grinding in Kunming for years, always living like an outsider in someone else's city. He didn't want fights, he didn't want trouble, he just wanted to work, make money, send it home, and someday save up enough to get his father a kidney transplant. He stayed quiet. Second uncle softened a little. All right, don't look so defeated. It's not the end of the world. If he comes back, I'll deal with it again, as many times as it takes. He paused. Get out at the next intersection. Here, take this money and be smart about it. I'm staying in Kunming for a few more days. Anything happens, you call me. Without asking, he pressed all the cash into Chinmo's hands. Chinmo didn't even bother with a formal refusal. With what his father's treatment was costing, he couldn't afford the performance. It came out to just over 6,000 yuan. He pocketed it and asked, You're not going back home. What are you doing in Kunming? Second uncle gave him nothing. Don't worry about it, just know it's not food delivery. Then, as a parting shot, and if that guy comes at you again, hit him back. Don't be a coward. Chinmo and his second uncle had always lived differently. They always would. After getting out at the intersection, Chinmo wandered the city alone in the dark. Thousands of yuan sat in his pocket. It should have felt like relief. Instead, it felt wrong, too easy, too fast, like money he hadn't earned. For a moment, he thought about reaching out to Shinzu, giving it all back, explaining that the whole thing had been a misunderstanding. He knew why he was thinking it. Part of it was practical. He was a simple guy with no connections, and getting tangled up with people like that was a losing game. But there was another part too, quieter, sitting in a corner of his chest. Maybe it was an excuse to know her, or at least to not be the villain in her story. The next second, he laughed at himself. Me and a woman like her. She's practically from another world. Why would she ever notice me? A sharp, bitter little laugh, just for himself. Outside the gate of the Paris Spring Complex, Chinmo stopped at a roadside stall and bought 2 grilled chicken wings. He sat down on the sidewalk and started eating. A stray dog crept closer, cautious, watching him for the bones. When Chinmo looked at it, the dog flinched back. Chinmo broke off the wingtips and tossed them over. The dog sniffed first, then ate quickly, then inched a little closer, and a little closer again. Eventually, it stopped flinching entirely and just sat beside him, working through the scraps. Something about that hit Chinmo in a way he didn't expect. In this city that didn't belong to either of them, he and this stray dog were the same, both drifting, both just trying to make it through one meal at a time, careful not to trust anything too fast. Back at the apartment, the bathroom was occupied, so Chinmo stepped out to the balcony for a cigarette. When he came back inside, he nearly walked straight into Linafei. Just stepping out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her, hair still damp. Their eyes met. She hit him with the same cold glare as always. Chinmo genuinely didn't understand it. He'd looked one time, accidentally, not on purpose, and she'd been treating him like he was some kind of predator ever since. Was it really that serious? Was it really worth this much? He didn't have an answer. He just went to his room. The next morning, Chinmo slept in a little, let himself rest. Then he opened the delivery app and started taking orders. The first one stopped him cold. 40 meal boxes. Destination, Kitty International Hotel. His first thought was some kind of MLM seminar or corporate training session. But when he showed up at the hotel's entrance, a security guard stopped him before he even got through the gate. No deliveries inside. Customer comes down to collect. Chinmo had no choice. He called the customer. A woman picked up. She told him to hand the phone to the guard, and after a brief exchange Chinmo couldn't hear, the guard handed it back. Staff elevator. Take it directly to the conference room on the 29th floor. First trip, Chinmo hauled up 20 boxes and left the rest locked on his scooter, asking the gate guard to keep an eye on them. Up on the 29th floor, the conference room had a single person in it, the woman who'd placed the order. Just set everything on the table. He did, then headed back down for the second load. When he pushed through the conference room door the second time, he stopped dead. Shinzu was standing right there in the middle of the room. Their eyes met. Chinmo couldn't trust what he was seeing. She was right there, and she was looking straight at him. At that same moment, a man beside her opened one of the meal boxes and offered it to her with both hands and a respectful nod. President Shan, you pushed hard in that meeting. Please eat something first. Shinju took the meal and thanked him politely. The words landed like a slap. President Shan. Yesterday, he and his second uncle had put her companion on the ground, and today he was standing in her conference room delivering her lunch. If this wasn't walking straight into a trap, he didn't know what was. Karma wasn't just a bitch, apparently. She was a CEO with a taste for 29th floor takeout. He moved fast, set the rest of the boxes down, turned to the woman who'd placed the order, and kept his voice as flat and professional as he could manage. Your order's complete. Enjoy your meal. And before anyone could say a word, he turned around and walked straight to the elevator at nearly a jog. Nego. Get out of the hotel as fast as humanly possible. The elevator dropped from the 29th floor to the lobby without a single stop. Chinmo watched the numbers count down. When the doors finally slid open, he froze. 4 security guards were waiting outside. He tried to play it casual. Head down, just another delivery guy on his way out. But 2 guards stepped directly into his path before he'd taken 3 steps. Come with us. For what? Chinmo said. You've got the wrong person. The guard's jaw tightened. Save it. The one who looked like the supervisor gave a short nod. Take him. Chinmo raised his voice, loud enough that the lobby could hear. On what grounds? Your hotel security. You have no legal right to detain me. Heads turned. People in the lobby started looking. The hotel manager appeared almost instantly, all smooth smiles and damage control. We sincerely apologize for the disturbance. A valuable item belonging to one of our guests has gone missing, and we have reason to believe the delivery worker may have been involved. We've detained the suspect and will be turning the matter over to police shortly. Unfortunately, this kind of thing does happen with delivery workers these days. The lobby started buzzing. Standards have really dropped. They're eating people's food and spitting in it too, and now stealing. Who's going to order delivery after this? Chinmo was still shouting. He was being set up. This was wrong. Somebody listen. But nobody was interested in what he had to say. People just stared. A few pulled out their phones and started filming. The guards didn't take him to a police station. They took him to a back room, forced him into a chair, and took his phone. Once he was contained, the heavy-set guard looked at the others. You two go handle the rest. Zhang and I will watch him. The other 2 guards were unhappy about it. Why do we have to go? You stay and watch him. We'll wait here. The heavy-set one cut them off with a curse. I said go. Stop arguing and move. They grumbled and left. The heavy-set guard tossed his cap onto a side table stretched out on the bed and looked over at the other one. Hey, you gotta smoke. Man, this is the life right here. Let me go, Chinmo said, voice tight with anger. This is illegal detention. You're breaking the law. The heavy-set guard didn't even look at him. Relax. I don't really care what's legal. I do what the boss says. And if you keep yelling and mess up my nap... He glanced down at his feet and wiggled his toes meaningfully. These socks haven't been washed in a week. Keep it up and I'll stuff them straight in your mouth. That shut Chinmo down completely. He genuinely believed the man would do exactly that. The 2 guards stretched out on the bed and smoked in silence.
Did you enjoy the video? Drop a like to let me know and smash the subscribe button if you want to see more. I love to hear your thoughts. Tell me your favorite moment, what you didn't like, or what I can do better next time in the comment below. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. See you in the next one.